Hello everyone, welcome to Hot Forex webinar for the 5th of July 2017. Today I'm going to try to cover in this webinar Average Directional Index. I'm Andria from Hot Forex, market analyst here in Hot Forex. And today we will have a look together on this particular indicator. Before I start though, I'd like to make sure that everyone is listening clean and clear. They don't have any audio issues or anything like any visual issues as well. If you just give me feedback in the question box that we have. Good, all fine here. So we have some positive answers. Cool. So if you have any audio or visual issues during the session, please check first your settings, the settings on your PC. If the settings are just fine, just chat me through our question window. And if there is something that I could do from my behalf. If not, then please please have in mind that this webinar is recorded, so you will later on have a recording of that webinar emailed to you straight from us. Also, due to the fact that we have limitation during our time limitation during our webinar, if you have any question that there a longer explanation needed and that I will not be able to reply to you straight away within this session, please email to us directly to webinars@hotforex.com. However, I will try to answer as many questions as possible within this webinar. If I don't manage to, just email it to us and I will reply, or Stuart will reply as soon as possible. So before we start though, we have to also go through the disclaimer as every single webinar. So, this material is provided as a general marketing communication for informational purposes only. Nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as containing investment advice or an investment recommendation or a solicitation for the purpose of purchase or sale of any financial instrument. We make no representation and assume no liability as to the accuracy or completeness of any information provided, and we shall not be held liable for any loss arising from any investment made based on the information provided in this communication. This communication must not be reproduced or further distributed without our prior written permission. Risk warning: trading Forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors and carries a high degree of risk to your capital. Trading such products is risky and you may lose all your investment capital. So we went through the disclaimer as well. So I will briefly introduce myself for people that have not heard me before giving a webinar. So I'm Andria Behidi. I'm a Stuart's colleague here in Hot Forex. So I have a 5-year-long study in UK, gaining a Bachelor in Mathematics and Physics from University of Bath, and also I have a Master's degree in Mathematics and a postgraduate diploma in actuarial science. I have recently joined actually the Hot Forex team just on January. But however, I'm active in the Forex industry for the last few years. So my mission here in general, the mission of our department, of me, Stuart, Alvaro, is to actively help you in becoming better traders by delivering daily market reviews. So have a look in our market analysis page, guys. We provide daily reports explaining why we entered the market with this position, what technical analysis indicators we use, and general tools, which fundamental news actually triggered us to enter in such a position. So there will be also educational for you as well to understand the indicators further, and also try to use them and improve your trading day by day. So let's continue. Before I start though, okay. So before I start, I would like to know how many of you used ADX before and how often you used it. Mohammed said that never used it. SF not use it. Is any one of you guys used it before? Yes, regularly. Never used it before. Good. So most of our attendees today never use it. So it's good. That's good. I think after that webinar you will definitely want to try it. It is new. Great. Thank you for your reply, all of you. Thank you. So just to ask David, how in which time frame have you used it, or you preferred using it? Like it's an hourly, 4 hour. Just so you are in general an intraday trader. So, or you don't mind really. Also a daily one. Good. Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to see if you're using it intradaily or in a larger time frame, such as the daily one and weekly one. No longer the daily. Great. Okay, so let's start. So I will. As you can see in this slide, we will cover together just very briefly. I will not stick to the history of ADX. I will just skip it very quickly. So we'll see the background of ADX. What is it? How can be used? We could see some examples, live ones. I will just drag and drop my MT4 to check with you some examples of ADX. Sorry, the different settings that you could set for this particular indicator, and also divergence that can be identified in ADX, and possible risk using such indicator, because there is always risk on indicators and technical tools. They are not perfect, but they can be as accurate as possible sometimes. So, and also works or not. Let's go through and start. So, as I said, I will not spend much time on the history of it, so I will simply mention that ADX is a trending indicator developed by Weller-Wilder in 1978. So Weller-Wilder created this tool for use initially for commodities and daily prices. However, the indicator can also be used in stock selection as well. So the average directional index, as we call it, or in shortcut ADX, is an indicator used in technical analysis as an objective value for identifying the strength of the trend. Only the strength of the trend, guys. I will explain this later on. Sorry for stopping this, but at this point I would also I have another question for you. Which of you are trend traders? So they only prefer of trading trends. I am. Grace has replied. Yes. So it might be the reason of attending to this webinar. I'm glad for that. I strongly believe in trends as well. I am. Yes. Good. So let's go through then. So since most of you are trend traders, you are very well aware that trading in the direction of a strong trend actually reduces the risk and increases the profit potentials. So that is what actually ADX indicator is doing. It is determining when price is trending strongly. Actually gives you how strong the trend is. So it can be considered a good tool for trend traders actually, even if it gives you just how strong the strength is. It doesn't give you the direction of the strength. It's a non-directional indicator actually. So it quantifies, as I said, the trend's strength regardless of whether the trend is going up or down. It gives you just the trend of the strength. So But I have to mention this point that it is widely used by many technical analysts like widely to also as a tool for confirming the continuation of a trend or a trend reversal. So they often use this kind of indicator. So as you already know, there are many trading indicators that are meant to confirm a trend. So once the trend is actually identified through the ADX or maybe other indicators, the actual challenge for us, for traders, even for us, for market analysts, is to determine whether the best time to enter or exit the trade. So we don't want to enter too early. We don't want to enter too late or exit the trade like too early again, because we will lose like a potential profit actually. So Weller Wilters, which is the developer of this indicator, in order to determine the ADX, he used that the plus directional movement and the minus directional movement, which are also indicators that created by him. So if you can see in this picture that I put like in our slide, ADX is actually the blue line, which simply shows how strong a trend is, and we have also these two lines, which actually are the directional movement indicators, and that you can check that also in your MT4. So in order to determine that ADX, we use also these two directional moving indicators. So I will explain this right now. So even if ADX is a non-directional indicator, we have the directional movement indicators that actually give us information regardless the direction of the trend. So ADX is actually plotted as you can see. Oh, that's not clear. No, it is clear enough. So it's plotted within a certain scale, let's say. So is ranking from a low 0 like here up to high, which is the 100. So the value of the scale, and actually the scale, the value of the ADX, and actually that scale that we are using gives different information. So it is important to understand that based on the value of the ADX line, it gives you different interpretations. So if let's say the ADX is below 25, then we can claim that this is a weak trend. We cannot rely on that trend. We're not sure that it will continue taking the direction that we can see. It's a weak trend. If actually the ADX is over 25, we could consider that is a strong trend. If we see him being above 50, that's an extremely strong trend. And the last scale that we have is above 75, which indicates that the trend is possibly at its peak. This is quite risky though. You cannot like waiting for the ADX to reach the highest to be above 75 in order to use it. That's an overextended trend. We can claim that it's overextended. So as you might know from other indicators or in general from the market, if something is overextended, let's say overbought, oversold, then there is a lot of possibility of reversing. So it's good to stick on these two categories, above 25 and above 50. So that's suit well. Your trend is a strong trend, so why waiting for a 75 reading or something? But we'll see later on more examples in order to understand what I actually mean. So as I said, it's a trending market tool. It cannot be used, because the trending market tool, it cannot be used in a ranking market. So if your asset is going sideways, is not an accurate indicator to use. So just have this in mind. What else? Yeah, it is plotted together with the minus directional line and plus directional line in order to give us a possible direction of the trend, since the ADX line itself cannot give us that information. Hello, let's continue and done with the introduction of what an ADX is, and go to more practical and practical things. How can be used? So, I already mentioned that ADX is at, if it's at the high price, if it's above 25, then we have a strong trend. But what we need also, we need the direction to understand what is going to happen. We need to gain as much information as possible. So, if we can gain actually this information from DMI lines, directional movement indicator lines, as I said before. So those are the ones that will give us more information regarding the asset and what are we looking at. So when the plus DI, which as I tried to put it here to see an example, so in my chart is the green line. So sorry, that's a wrong typo. That should be plus. Apologies for that. Hope that you're following. That should be a plus over here. I cannot edit it right now though. Okay, so I will just, sorry. So as I said, this is this green line is the plus DMI and the red one is the minus DMI. So if we see that plus DMI is greater, is above the minus DI line, so this means that bulls have entered the market. So bulls have the directional edge. So I'm writing this over here as well. So DI above minus DI. So pricing moving up, bulls have entered the market and they are pushing the price further up. And also it means that our ADX line actually measures an uptrend. So let's say at this point over here, or in general, let's start from this point. ADX is above 25. I always put this line in my indicator in order to read easily my ADX line. This is not added by default, so once you use it, please add the 25 line, or 50, it's up to you. So at this point over here, I can see that okay, ADX is above 25, so I am in a strong trend. And also the plus DI line is above the minus DI, so we are speaking for an uptrend. So our ADX says that we are in a strong uptrend. It measures the uptrend. So, however, when the minus, so let's go to the opposite scenario. So when the minus DI line is above the plus DI line, in our graph you can see that over here in this area, and again in this area, slightly in this area, but ADX line is below 25, so this is a weak trend. We cannot rely on that. So let's focus in this part over here. So my ADX is above 25, so it's a strong trend. It even is above 50. Yeah, at this point over here it's above 50. Why both are green and red? Sorry, what do you mean? Why they I'm stick with these colors, or I don't get it, Dorothea. I'm not sure what you're asking. But just to repeat, I have oh. Yeah, I don't know if you heard me before. I made a typo over here. So the green is the plus. This should be a plus over here. I made a typo because I added these figures over here in order for you to be able to see it. But what is minus DMI? And okay, cool. Dorothea is fine. So what is the minus DMI and plus DMI? They are directional movement indicators. There are other two indicators that Wallace Wilter done with the creator of ADX, also that these two indicators. So we have ADX line that give us actually the strength of the trend, but in order to understand the direction of the trend, to gain information for the direction of the trend, he created these two lines. So once we claim that, if we see that the plus DI, which is the green one in my chart, is above the negative DMI, we could say that we are in an uptrend on MT4. Okay, so we have a setting issue. Let me do it. Let me show you just quickly. Just a second. I will drag and drop my MT4, and so this is my MT4. Hopefully that everyone can see it. Yeah, that should be okay. So how can I add that indicator? Sorry, I have other indicators as well. As you can see, I have parabolic SAR and some moving average. So how I could add ADX? Yes, Anup. Yes, Anup. I made a mistake, a typo. So the green line is a plus DMI. So in my slide, I have a type over here. That should be a plus. Yep. So how we add it in the MT4? So I have my MT4. Sorry. So I always have, to be honest, the navigator over here. So I'll always have them here in order to have all the indicators. So you could just, here's the average directional movement index, ADX, as we are speaking, and I drag and drop it in. Sorry for that. Okay. So by clicking OK, I have my indicator. Otherwise, if you don't have the navigator here, you could just simply add it with insert. No, sorry. Should be navigator. Indicators. So trend indicator, as we said, is a trend indicator. So you could add it from your menu as well. So just I will repeat that, because as you can see there is a range, but you cannot identify the 25 level, which is we consider to be, if the value is above 25, consider to be a strong trend. So I always add a horizontal line in my ADX, in my indicator. So at 25, not so good at spotting the 25, so I will do it from here. 25. Okay, so just to be easily for me to read the indicator. I know that if the blue line is above, then my ADX is giving me a strong trend, so I always put the line. So that's done with MT4. Okay, let's continue our webinar. So when we stopped, we stopped on the opposite scenario, where we have the negative DI line, so the red one, above the positive directional moving indicator line. So at this area over here, we have that case. So negative DI moves above our positive DI. So this means that ADX is actually measuring a downtrend. So in this area over here, actually not here, but once ADX is above 25, we know that it's a strong trend. The red line, the minus DMI, is above the plus DMI. So we know that it's a downtrend and a strong one. So you always have to check the direction of the DI lines, the value of the DX line. So it needs to be above 25. If it's below 25, then you don't actually know if you have actually a trend. You might have a weak trend, you might don't have trend at all. So you have to make sure that the ADX line is above 25. So when I check actually my MT4, the first thing that I am seeing is the ADX line. Is it above or below 25? And then I will try to investigate the direction of the DI lines. So also one option is so let's go to the third point that you have to check is the direction of the ADX line. So if we can see ADX line rising, then we know that trend strength is increasing and price moving in a trend direction. So here you have a downtrend. So by seeing at this point, at this area over here, that we have a downtrend, that ADX is increasing, you know that since it's increasing, the trend strength is increasing. So the price moves in the direction of the trend. So price goes downwards. Okay, so if we see, let's say, the ADX line falling, so at this area over here, we are in an uptrend, not a very good one. So if I'm taking this area, not a very good one, but we are in an uptrend, so you can see higher highs. So we might be in an uptrend, but our strength is decreasing. So we are not no longer in a strong trend. Our strength is decreasing. So we might see at this point our price to retrace or consolidate. So we might enter in a scaling actually period. So you can see that here it makes its last higher high up this level, but then like it's slightly going sideways. It's not neither downtrend or an uptrend. It's like consolidates. So you need to be careful once you see your ADX line decreasing, going down, especially if you see it below 25. Again, we have a weak trend. We have no trend actually at this level. So let's continue. So one option is to consider a possible set position when the minus DI is up and the major trend is down. Another option is to consider a buy option when the plus DI is higher than the minus DI, but only when the larger trend is moving up. And by saying the larger trend, I mean the ADX line. So in a simpler way, it is possible to use the ADX as a way to time an entry on the market that is already confirmed to be trading in a particular direction. So when the plus DI is above the minus DI, prices are moving up, and when the ADX measures the strength of the uptrend, we already said that, and I have it also in my slide. So I hope that you're fine up to here. I will not repeat these points. If you have any questions, just stick it in. And let's continue. Okay, it's the same example as before. So if you need to ask me anything on this example, I will do a summary of it if you want. So yeah, I will quickly repeat. We are in a Euro-Yen daily chart. At this point over here, we had a short uptrend, but then we have seen how do you make a line of 25% in it's not percent, it's a value, it's not percentage. So I simply that's my MT4. So dear Mohammed, I will okay, I will delete the line and present it to you again. So I have my ADX, but because I want to read this easily, I just add, you can see here is a horizontal line. Most of you should have these tools in your MT4. It's good to have direct access to them. So I put them here in order to use them easily. So I add a horizontal line over here at 25. Okay, I'm not perfect on putting it on 25, so I will right click objective list, edit my horizontal line and put it exactly on 25. So it's exactly on 25. If we trade follow the trend when we exit the entry in the refer of ADX. So that's a good question, Maihua. So actually ADX is not very good on giving us a time of our position. So it is suggested by us and many others actually to use other indicators for have a close look on your channel, on your price channel. So actually ADX, the only thing that it might gives you a warning of exiting the market is when your ADX line goes down. That's the only clue that can give you. However, is best to confirm this warning, even if you use Bollinger Bands. So at this point over here, my price my candlesticks hit the lower Bollinger Bands. So that means that downtrends might run out of steam, because I also have a bearish candle over here that it closed above my bearish one. So that's one way. So you could check your candles. Other way is if they hit your moving averages. So that's not a good example of moving averages, but okay, yeah, that's the one. So you were in an uptrend up here, then it reversed to a downtrend. So once we saw that it actually broke 20 period moving average, 50 period moving average, which is the blue one, and the 200 moving average, that's definitely a signal of entering the market downwards. That's a very good indicator, because at this point you can see that your ADX didn't actually give you that is a strong trend. It gave you that later on at this point over here, but before you had a break of moving average. So that in combination with ADX rising, it gives you a confidence of entering short. So it's good to combine things. Maybe RSI or okay, my suggestion is Bollinger Bands, because they give you a price channel. So you can see my price channel and then going up, then sideways, then up. So my suggestion is Bollinger Bands, moving averages, and RSI. But it's up to you. What kind of indicators are you usually use? So what's the other question? Please elaborate on point 3 in the previous slide. Just a second. Point 3, direction of ADX line. So as I said, in my ADX line, I give you only the strength, how strong your trend is. However, its direction is quite important as well. So if you have seen at this point over here, from a week ADX line, we have seen rising. So this means that my strength, the strength of my trend, is actually increasing. So most probably the price will continue the direction that it is right now. So it was in a downtrend. So by seeing my ADX going up, so it will likely continue going down as well. He will continue his direction, because the strength of the trend is increasing. So in the opposite scenario, that I'm seeing ADX line to decrease, then I know that the trend is not so strong anymore. Its strength is decreasing. So this means that, especially if he goes below 25, that my price, my asset might consolidate, so move within a range sideways, or retrace. But it's not a retrace, like it's not a retrace signal or a consolidation signal. It is like an indication that that's a quite risky point of entering the market, because it's weak. You don't have a strong ADX, such as MACD, Bollinger Band, and so on, which it is mandatory to use these indicators in charts. What is trader do not put any on this chart? It is mandatory to use this indicator in chart. No, you cannot. If you don't want to, don't use indicators. I know if that's your question. However, have in mind that okay, we are people, so we have emotions, and most of the times, unfortunately, we put that emotions in our trading. So in the technical tools in general take our emotions away of our trading, so it helps you see market more logically than emotionally. So it's good from my side to use some indicators, or if you can control your emotion, then it's fine. It's fine. You can. It's not necessary to use indicators. However, as I said, we are humans, and they help us take our emotions away from our trading. So, and as I saw today morning, the quote that Stuart actually, um, where was it? So it's a quote, a hot forex quote that Stuart has created. So today's quote is: "If an investment is done without emotions, that then it's most probably will gain the most interest." So, which period should we set for intraday trading? We'll have a look later on the settings, so we'll see that, Gadai. What time frame is the best? Exactly, Victor. It's in my next slide. So we are done up to here, I hope. So we'll see the settings. So it's actually this in the next part. So, so we have seen that. Yes. Okay. So by default, as most of the indicators, if you have seen, okay, Dorothea, the red moving average in my chart is the 200 moving average. Okay, the blue one is usually the 50 one. So yeah, I have these two colors. So this chart is at 200, a very, very significant level. So okay, so by default, this indicator is a 15 period indicator. So um, from my side, because I usually, not usually, I mostly have a daily charts, especially in the morning. In order to check the charts, I have a daily time frame. So I'm using a 14 periods. So I'm sticking to the default settings. However, if you're an intraday trader, or yeah, an intra trader, let's say a 4-hour one, even a minute one, it's good to check firstly your settings. Hi, are you able to listen? Sorry, we don't see your chart. Yes, now I'm in my slide. So do you need some? Why only get to view the people in the slide? Can you show the chart in the settings? Yeah, I will. I will. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's my next slide. Just wanted to tell these 7 points regarding the settings, and I will go straight to an example. So as I said, default settings are for 14 periods one. Traders can modify settings, you can modify your setting, but you need to be careful. Each one of you has a different trading style, has a different trading strategy, so it's good, guys, to make sure that the ADX settings that you're using, like it might be the default one, the 40 periods one, you might want to reduce it, increase it to 28. You have to make sure that for your trading style, the settings that you used are the most reliable one. They are the ones that give you better signals. So it's okay to change the settings as long as you have checked that it's suitable for you. Don't overdo it. Don't put a very high time frame thinking that they are more reliable ones. They might be more reliable ones, but remember, they are late signals. So you don't want to enter the market after the trend has been done, after the option, after losing the option. So it might give a very, very high time frame, might give the reliable signals, but also gives a late signals. A very short one I even read in the internet like someone using one period. That's ridiculous, because what it might gives you fast signals, but mostly they won't be accurate one. You cannot just use one period. So ADX, what is actually going to calculate? What actually results we're going to give you if he's only comparing the last period? So short time frames are also good, but make sure that it suits your trading style. So also, as I said before, combine with other indicators. It gives you more confidence on entering the market or exiting the market. It's good to combine other indicators. So we'll see some examples. Yes, of course, Anup. Even daily time frames and weekly time frames. If you just check, let's say, okay, I'll come back to my chart. So I'm drag and dropping New Zealand dollar. So in this area over here, I have a daily one. So how can I check that actually I have a 14 period settings? How can I check that it relies? So it's good for my trading style. So I have the 14 one, which is the default. I've seen over here, clearly over here, this is an uptrend. So I'm checking my indicator. Yes, indeed, the plus DI line is above minus DI line, so we are in an uptrend. And indeed, as time pass, we have seen our ADX increasing, so it's getting stronger. So from this very point, you had an indication on that it's an uptrend, and a strong one. Of the dotted indicator. You mean these dots? These dots around my prices? So Saleh, if you see the DI and the DI lines in general over the ADX line, it doesn't really matter. What matters is to see whether DI minus is above plus DI, or DI is above the plus. Sorry, if you see which one is above. So if the plus is above the minus, or the minus is above the minus one, and if the ADX is above 50. 25, sorry, above 25. It doesn't matter if they go above the DX line, as long as you have a strong trend and not a weak one. Sorry, there's a lot of questions. So I was back in Anup question for a daily and weekly time frame. So as you can see, I have the default settings, and it seems to satisfy good my actually time frame, the daily one. If let's go to weekly one, over here, that's satisfied good as well. So my index is increasing. It's indicating a downtrend, and continues and continues and continues, except from this point over here, which it's said that is a week. However, I mean, it's still in a downtrend. That's satisfied good as well. Okay. Yeah, so it satisfies daily and weekly as well. If you see that it doesn't satisfy, change the period to check. Maybe it's good, is better in a smaller time period, time frame. So it's not time frame, a setting of the ADX. I mean, so go to the properties of ADX and try the seventh period to see. I need faster signals. Does this 7 period setting satisfy my chart? And looks good actually. It's above, minus is above, plus it's at it's above 25, and we're indeed in a downtrend. At this point it goes down, so yeah, we are in a ranking market. So here you might consider of and exiting the market or changing your stop loss or something, because we can see clearly here that it's sideways, and indeed the ADX is below 25, so we don't know if we actually have a trend. So at this point you have to be careful when ADX is going below 25. What is sorry, Dorothea, that's a parabolic SARs. Please, if we see, we ask that question where we're here to learn this one. Please remove other unless. Sorry for that. Just wanted to explain. Yeah, you are right. You're right, Alex. Saleh, I will remove parabolic SARs. However, I will leave Bollinger's because we need to combine ADX with other indicators. It's not a tool to be used alone. So Bollinger Bands give us that the price is moving within a channel. So it's good. It's good to use other indicators. It confirms you it confirms you your decision of entering or exiting or whatever the ADX, whatever information the ADX gave you, Prem Kumar. ADX line is blue one, isn't it? Yes, Bang Hong is the blue one. I have missed the first part. Can I get it as yes? Actually, this webinar is recorded, so you will you will be able to watch it later on. However, we're running out of time, so any questions I will not reply it to other questions because we have divergence to see as well, which is very important. Just to briefly say that if you're using too small, let's say, periods of 5 period or 1 that I said. So the lower settings, faster trend direction, but some false trend signals as well. If you are in a high, you put like a 28 or 30 period in your settings. So it might be a smoother ADX line, but more reliable, maybe more reliable result, but possibly you might miss the trend. So widely used range is the 7 to 30 period, the maximum. So again, caution on changing the settings. Make sure that it satisfies your trading style. So let's go to divergence. I want to cover divergence. It's very, very important. So sorry for that. I ran out of steam. So ADX and divergence. So if guys, what do we mean by divergence? So as we said, ADX presents a trend momentum. So I will go straight to my example. So if you can see over here, what would we claim firstly as a divergence? Divergence is when the price, the price of the action, and the oscillator are diverging from each other. So they are giving the different signals. So when you see the price going higher and higher, so you have a higher highs, but the ADX line goes lower. So as you can see in this example over here, so actually this is, yeah, so we have higher highs at this area over here, but my ADX is decreasing at this point over here. So in this here is decreasing. So that's a divergence. Also, we might see that price is going lower and lower, makes lower lows. However, the ADX, it makes lower highs. So that's the case up here. We see our price, our euro dollar, going down and down and down, making lower lows. However, the ADX is very, very strong. It's above 25, but it goes also, it makes lower highs. So at this area over here, it was nearly 90. Then it went down and down to 50 and further down. So we had a different picture. So this indicates that we're in a divergence. So once we are in a divergence, it's a warning that the trend is likely to change, either reverse or make a correction or consolidate. So actually the momentum of the trend is changing. So when we have seen, when we actually see that signal, it means it's very important, because it seems that our asset either runs out of steam, and so it might change its trend. So it's a warning to watch actually the price and manage the risk. So if in the series of ADX peaks are also a visual representation of the trend momentum, so ADX actually clearly show us that the trend is gaining or losing momentum. So when we see lower ADX peaks, then means that our trend is decreasing. So any index peak above 25 is considered strong. So if it is in a lower peak, then in an uptrend, price can still rise on decreasing ADX momentum, because overhead supply is eaten up as the trend progresses. So knowing that trend momentum is increasing, giving the trader confidence to let profit runs instead of exiting before the trend has ended. So however, in the other hand, a series of lower index peaks is a warning that we need to watch the price. We need to manage our risk, because if we see the index going lower, making a lower peaks, then something's going wrong. The momentum in the market is changing. So it's significant if we notify the divergence. I have to put in that point that divergence is quite rarely to be identified. It's quite difficult to be identified, but when it's done, it's a very, very, very good warning that something is changing in the market. So it's good to either tighten your stop loss, or in general to manage your risk, because something is going to change. It might not be a signal of reversal, so you don't think that it's time for the trend to reverse. It's just a warning that something changing, either because there is a possibility of trend reversal or correction or consolidation. However, it's a warning of that it's time for you to manage your risk. So you can see it here clearly in this actual example. So we have identified divergence here. Okay, it's quite an old example. It's from October to November. We have seen lower lows, but our index was decreasing up to December. So that was a divergence. So at this point we had to time our risk and maybe tighten our stop loss, because there was a possibility of the trend to reverse or consolidate, and that it did actually happen. So for the new year, the euro dollar is actually going in an uptrend in a daily frame. So it moves in an up channel actually. So we have up, slightly down, so it's a correction, up, a correction down, up, up, up. So it's an uptrend channel. That's why it's very important, guys. The divergence to any indicators is a very important warning. Also, so let's answer some questions. The name of the table should be above, down, used as index goes above. You are correct, Anur. So yeah, it's ADX, but actually the more important information are given by DI and by DI lines. So ADX simply give us how strong the trend is and not their direction. Thank you. Blue line and red line indicates moving averages, correct? What are values of this moving average? So in my chart, in my own charts, which is this, the blue is the 50-day moving average, and the red one is the 200. Okay, yeah. Hopefully I didn't miss any question. Just email it to me if I did. What else do we have to say for divergence? unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a divergent example with higher highs in the price and the um, lower highs in the ADX, but I find the lower lows. So it's actually the same thing, but reversely. So, however, as most of the indicators, I'd like to add in this point that there are risks. And I already mentioned some of them. Don't use index when the market is ranking, when your asset is moving sideways. That's risky because it moves sideways. So an example of that is actually, let me go back, actually is this area over here. So I was in an uptrend, indeed, so you can clearly see it from my indicator. However, my ADX dropped below 25. And that was indeed the case. It did drop below 25 because my asset was going sideways. It was actually moving between this channel, sorry, which is actually my resistance and support area in this level. So only I couldn't like enter the market with such bad indicators. This is a weak trend, it goes sideways, so I don't know if it's likely to go down or up. I only am sure that it will continue upwards when I saw that ADX is above 25, my plus DI lines above the minus D1, and also I have a big strong bullish candle breaking my Bollinger Bands and going up. Even if you didn't have Bollinger Bands or parabolic SIR, only that indicator, that big bullish candle, gives you that your pair is back at his uptrend and has further momentum upwards because of this big bullish candlestick. So in this case over here, you didn't have to have Bollinger Bands or other indicators. Just this bullish candle is enough to understand that we are out of the ranking market and we are now in an uptrend. And also the indicator of our index. So I'm going back to Saleh saying that why do we have so many indicators since we're not speaking about them? Indeed, Saleh, you're right. At this point over here, we didn't need to have any indicators, just watching the candles. And this is clearly a very big one. Sorry, pop. So my settings for Bollinger Bands Blake is a deviation of 2 and a 20 period one. So let's go back to the risk. As we said, not in a ranking market. As other indicators, very low or very high settings might provide false signals, so they might provide very late signals or very non-accurate ones if you are in a very low settings, as the one period or 2 period. So important, good to confirm information. You need to confirm the information that ADX is giving you with other indicators. If you don't want to use other indicators, just check your candlesticks. Check your candlestick to have a lot of strength as well. Like big bullish candlesticks indicate uptrend. Big bearish ones, they are saying that yes, I'm a very big bearish candle, so I will continue for some times going down. So you have to check your candlesticks. Also, a very common mistake, I forgot to mention it earlier, is don't fall in that mistake, believing that the ADX line gives you the trend line. So don't believe that, like in this example over here, don't just make that mistake that if I'm seeing ADX falling, it means I'm in a downtrend. No, ADX gives only the strength of the divergence. So if you see ADX line going up, it doesn't mean that your trend is going up. It's just the strength of the trend is increasing. So if you are in a downtrend, so it's likely to continue going down. If you are in an uptrend, so it's likely to continue to go up. So don't mix these things, please. What else? So does it really work or not? it works. It depends on what you want to learn. So it's useful if there is a trend. So if it actually tells you that whether you are not in a trend or you are in a trend, and how strong this their trend is. And as we said, it gives you also it helps you to identify divergence and the possibility of a reversal. However, as we said in the very beginning, if you remember, someone asked me for that, it's not a useful tool to set your stop loss or resistance, or even put a time in your position. Like an example, a big mistake would be that if you see ADX going below 25, to exit the market. That's a mistake. The ADX doesn't give you clues of timing your position or where to set your stop loss and resistance levels. So let's recap. So Ojo, that's a different question for moving averages. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. So just email it to me and I will try to explain moving average through the email. Okay. And or I will send you also another webinar that we explain the moving averages. Yep. Thank you, Arj. Thanks for this understanding, because we already closed an hour. So there is a recap. ADX trending indicator, which can be used to identify the strength of the trend, is a non-directional one. What gives you the directions, as we said, is the DI lines, the directional moving indicators, the green and the red line. So the combination of these three lines, ADX, DMI, minus DMI and plus DMI, gives you a trend direction, the strength of such trend. An uptrend is one the plus DI is above minus DI, and a downtrend if the minus DI is above plus DI. However, you have to check ADX value first. It's the first thing to be done, because in order you have to see whether you are in a trend and how strong this trend is. So the direction of the ADX line, rising means trend strength increasing, falling trend strength decreasing. Always check setting based on your trading style. Don't afraid to change the settings, but make sure that it satisfies, it gives you good signals. And on time, that's the very important one. Divergence, warning that trend momentum is changing. So once you see divergence using ADX or any other indicator, it's time to assess and manage your risk. Tighten your stop loss maybe, or exiting the market or something, but it's time to manage and assess your risk. So that was all from me. Sorry, I cannot reply any. I cannot say any more. Reply to any other questions. I will try to do that in through the email. I will go. Yeah, that's we are done for today. The following webinars will be next week. We have live analysis from Alvaro, so you will be able to ask for any pair that you want. So Alvaro will explain live that very moment in his MT4 the pairs that you want and his opinion. You can ask for his opinion, and you can for sure, guys. Request for anything you want, for any pair you want, commodity, gold, silver, etc. It's a live analysis one, so you can ask for whatever you want. Also have money management in Forex is very important. Also, I will have two webinars. I will give 2 webinars the very next week for divergence again and charting patterns, some very significant ones that give you very big signals and warnings. We also have support and resistance. It's good for people that have just started and they are beginners and they have just started trading. It's very important. It's actually, for me, it's the initial thing to learn, to set the support and resistance level at the right position. And also another live analysis on 25th of July with Stuart this time. Actually, I believe that's the most helpful webinars, live analysis one, because you can see live at this very moment the market. Thank you for watching my webinars. Any question will be answered in the email. Thank you for watching again. I hope you have a great trading day today. Bye for me. See you later.